31 years ago, some 2 million Filipinos took to the streets to unseat then President and known dictator Ferdinand Marcos. They occupied this stretch and the highway right behind those protesters, and it was on this day, February 25th in 1986, that they succeeded in toppling Marcos. Filipinos then were united, and for decades the so-called People Power Revolution was a symbol of peaceful resistance and democracy. But that appears to be no longer the case now, as Filipinos are as divided as ever. A lot of Filipinos still hold the 1986 revolution sacred, especially those who were victims of abuses during Marcos's martial rule, and that's why the decision of the current president, Rodrigo Duterte, to allow Marcos to be buried at the National Heroes Cemetery was controversial, to say the least. When the burial did happen last year, thousands of Filipinos took to the streets to voice their anger and disappointment. Today, they're out again, as you can see, to continue voicing their opposition not only to the burial, but also to the return of the Marcoses to power. They were also protesting the thousands of alleged extrajudicial killings under Duterte's watch.
You see things happening that are not in accordance with the rule of law, for instance, and we have to act. The people have to go out and act and express their dismay, their frustration, and tell the president, tell this administration that we are not going to allow another dictatorship to happen.
But Duterte does remain popular, at least according to the most recent survey released in January. In fact, the war on drugs and Marcos's heroes burial were his campaign promises. So although there are reports government resources were used to put up this rally happening behind me on the other side of Metro Manila, it still probably shouldn't come as a surprise that all these people have shown up to express their support for President Duterte. Now, former President Benigno Aquino has denied accusations that his party is planning to oust Duterte, but one of the messages here is to stop destabilization.
We don't want any destabilization. The president has only been there for the past 7 months, and we look forward to another 5.5 years with him. Genuine change, federalism, empowerment of the countryside, and true change and public service.
Now, the official commemoration ceremony of the 1986 People Power Revolution actually took place on Friday, and for the first time inside the Philippine Armed Forces headquarters, instead of on the streets where the historic event actually transpired. Duterte himself was not even present at the commemoration event, so it was definitely low-key. That, of course, did not sit well with those who see the 1986 protests as one of the most important turning points in the history of the Philippines. But President Duterte and the Filipinos here say it's time to move on. Barnaby, CGTN, Manila.